Isn't it incredible how a sculptor looks at a massive block of marble and sees art inside? Of course, the sculpture doesn't get there on its own. It takes the sculptor hundreds of precise strikes with a chisel to chip away what doesn't belong. I like to think that our ideas are like that. We have this vision in our heads, but the hard part is chipping away and bringing them into reality. And many of us, we get tired, we get discouraged, and we put the chisel down long before anything good ever happens. Tonight, let's reconsider our thoughts about perseverance. I'm here to argue that it's not brute willpower, but a repeatable strategy. And it has 3 steps. But before we get there, I want to introduce you to little Elise. She was fortunate enough to try all kinds of hobbies and instruments and sports. One of those sports being gymnastics. Little Elise loved the idea of gymnastics, the sparkles, the elegance, and the effortless strength. But there was a big problem. She was terrible at it because she was terrified of it. Terrified of falling and flailing and getting hurt. And so she quit. And for over 20 years, I successfully avoided gymnastics. That is until one day, I came face to face with it once again when I walked into a functional fitness gym. Now, if you didn't know, functional fitness has 3 parts. The first, strength, which I love. The second, cardio, which I tolerate. And the third, gymnastics. But I decided that this time was going to be different. Gymnastics wasn't going to win. In fact, I was somehow going to beat gymnastics. And this is where our story with perseverance begins. But before we dive in, I need to make one thing clear. A good idea is not good enough. At least not while it stays stuck in your head. I want so badly for each of you to reach your goals. That's why I'm here today. And I promise, if you follow this roadmap that I'm about to give you, everything can change. So let's start with our first of 3 keys of effective perseverance. The first being create small victories. Confucius once said, "The man who moves a mountain begins by carrying away small stones." Don't you love that image? And in Steve Magnus's 2022 book, Do Hard Things, he gives us a picture of what creating small victories looks like. First, he tells us to appraise our challenge. Consider that big idea, research it. How hard will it actually be? How much time will it take? Where might you need to acknowledge your limitations and stretch your capabilities? Next, we create our action plan. This is our literal schedule of small victories. It's important that each victory is just out of reach from the last one, because these are going to serve as intentional and frequent checkpoints to recognize and celebrate progress. And the magic of small victories is they make you love the process as much as you love the idea of the reward, because small victories stack up until the big goal is inevitable. Now, I decided my metric to beating gymnastics would be getting my first muscle up. For those of you who don't know, it's like a pull-up, except you keep going and bring yourself all the way up over the bar. I praised my challenge, and I created an action plan sparkling with small victories to get it done. I wish I could tell you that my first sincere attempt at a muscle-up was a triumph, but I fell, and I flailed, and I crashed right back down a lot. What I'm trying to say is I got comfortable with failure. I learned that it's an essential part of the process, which brings us to our second key: fail well and fail better. Failing well gives us a second chance. For example, in weightlifting, it's knowing how to successfully bail a 1-rep max lift attempt so you don't get injured and you can try again. In life, it's failing with humility and self-awareness. So failing well gives us a second chance. Failing better means we take that chance and we run with it. We don't take failure personally here in effective perseverance because it's feedback. We welcome it. Ideally, we never want to fail the same way twice. So we fail better by looking at the last time we failed, learning from it, and then adding small victories to the action plan to fill the gaps. Now, when you commit to the rhythm of victory and failure, you become unstoppable because not even failure can deter you anymore. In fact, it makes you stronger. But perseverance that works isn't you alone with those victories and failures. In fact, if that's where I left all of you today, I'd be depriving you of an essential part of the strategy. Which brings us to our third and final key of effective perseverance: find your village. Perseverance is not a solo sport. It's hard. We need people to lift us up in ways that we can't on our own. Every good village has teachers, teammates, and students. In my journey, I had teachers, those that already had their muscle ups, that helped me see blind spots in my training. I had teammates, others with specific fitness goals. They weren't necessarily muscle ups, but we stood next to each other day by day and put in the work together. Then I had students, and really these were people who were just starting their fitness journeys, and I poured into them where I was able and where it was appropriate. And in return, their belief in me was often the only reason that I kept going on the days where I wanted to be done, because there were many days like that. But this doesn't just apply to fitness, right? No matter your goal, writing a book, starting a company, learning a new language or skill, we need people to guide us, to struggle with us, and to cheer for us. So those are our 3 keys of effective perseverance. Write them down, take them with you. They work, I promise. Create small victories, fail well and fail better, and find your village. Before our time is up today, though, I'm sure you all want to know, did I ever end up beating gymnastics and getting that muscle up? Well, I'm so glad that you asked, because back when I first took on this challenge, I did it with a very specific time frame in mind. I wanted to have my first muscle up right in time for a big competition at my gym. It's the day of the competition, and I don't have it yet, but I am so close. And I know that having my village there and the adrenaline of the moment is going to be exactly what I need to make it happen. It's competition time. 15-minute workout. We are 14 minutes in. My hands are ripped and bleeding from what feels like completing an infinite number of barbell thrusters and chest-to-bar pull-ups. I'm tired. And through my gasps for air, I hear my judge encouraging me on to the next movement, the muscle up. I have 1 minute. But all I need is one. Every rip, every rep, every ounce of pain in training has led me to this moment. I'm ready. Let's see what happened.
Don't let your technique slip. Come on. You know how to do it.
My time ran out. I didn't get it yet. And that's what perseverance is. It's not succeeding in an arbitrary time frame. It's showing up to try again. I need each of you to leave here knowing your ideas are worth chipping away at. Bring your masterpiece out into the world. It deserves more than to stay stuck in your head. Anything is possible with small wins, smart fails, and the right people. So please, dream big, fail hard, and keep going.